play Frank. Well, this week I've got part 2 of the food shredder build for you. Now I'm going to play a killer track by 38 Special. You keep running away. Alright, let's get to it. Well, that's pretty close. So what the deal is with these things is these things are all identical, but since I did a freehand drawing on my thing here, they just programmed this into their CAD program to the best of their abilities and centered it and everything. So the teeth are slightly different. So you can see there's a couple in here like this one. So what I gotta do is I gotta make sure that they all slide onto the shaft in the same position like this one is. Otherwise you end up with it like this, and you know, that's not gonna work quite as well. That wasn't what I had in mind. But what I had in mind next to do was to figure out the exact spacing so that these would all be evenly spaced, and I'll probably have to put spacers in the middle to keep them spaced properly and spacers at the end. I'm not sure if I'll have to do that yet because this is only chopping food. It's just a matter of when these shafts turn, because they're both going to turn towards each other and the teeth are going to dig into the food from both sides and pull it through the middle. So they got to be lined up properly so that they don't hit against each other and jam. So I'm going to have to spend some time there getting this all squared up. And then I have another piece of stainless that I'm going to cut off small pieces, and then I'm going to weld them in between all the teeth on each pair of these so that it holds it in the right spacing. And then it's also going to give it like about a 1 or 1 1/8 inch bite out of the piece of food so that the pieces go through and it tears it off in like 1 to 2 inch chunks. That seems to be ideal for the goats to eat. So we're gonna spend some more time lining this all up, and then I'm gonna start cutting those pieces and start tacking it together, and then we'll show you what that looks like. Got them all welded. That took a long time. Stick welding stainless sure isn't pretty. Now you gotta sharpen all the teeth with a grinder. Well, here's one sharpened, 9 more to go. There, all the cutters are sharpened and cleaned up now. So now we're gonna start assembling it. You're gonna have 5 cutters on this shaft turning this way, 5 cutters on that shaft turning this way. Alright, I assembled it, and when you turn it, you got one hand holding the camera, so when you turn both sides, they do sometimes contact each other and jam, so I am going to have to make spacers in between there. And we're on this side where the gears go. I have to trim the framework back here a little bit because this gear won't go back far enough. You can see that one's just barely on the shaft. It's got to go back another inch at least. And I have to file the holes at the bottom for these bottom pillow block mounting bolts. So we'll get that done, and then we'll turn it again and see how it works. We've got the spacers made, and I put all these, I had to reassemble the whole machine to get this all lined up. So I've got this side clamped with that long bar clamp there, and this side is clamped with this bar clamp so that it holds them in place. And I center punched them as accurately as I could. And I tried making whatever you call this, a center punch with a hole, the shaft the same as the hole, but it just keeps mushrooming the end, even though this is tool steel. So I had to just do it as accurately as I can with a regular center punch. So next step now is I'll drill all these holes and top it, and then I should be able to put all the nuts on this side to hold them together, and then I'll turn the shafts over and put the spacers on the other side and center punch them and drill and top them. Now I know what you guys are thinking. Why are you going to all this trouble to make a machine just to chop food up to feed the animals? Why not just have a couple of blades spinning inside a metal drum or something and chop the stuff up, have it fall out the bottom and call it a day? Well, I always wanted to make a shredder, and I got a plan to make a bigger shredder to shred rotten wood and stumps and stuff, so this is like a dry run for that. But since it's for food, everything has to be made that's going to contact the food out of stainless steel so they can be kept clean, which makes it even more difficult. So you're just going to bear with me here, guys, and I'll show you what it looks like after I get them all drilled and tapped. Alright, I got all these pieces made and fitted together, and I've had the pieces assembled couple of times, and I changed my mind about tapping each hole and using short screws, and I just drilled all the way through, and I went and bought long bolts and nut and bolted them. It's way simpler that way, because this metal is so hard. Even with a high quality tap, it took me over half an hour to tap one hole, and I chipped the heck out of my tap. So this works much better. And then to get them all lined up, I just filed the holes in these little pieces enough so that these bolts would fit in, because you need this space here, because this is a 1-inch piece and these things are 1 inch. So in order for them to mesh, they have to be spaced 1 inch apart. But the problem that I run into is, since these things are all 1 inch, it's actually binding because there's no clearance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to machine maybe 5 or 10 thou off each side of these teeth here on the one shaft, and I'm just going to mount them one at a time in this fixture here like this to give it clearance, because it's not going to work if they're rubbing together like that. It's going to jam, and I'm pretty sure that even with 5 or 10 thou of clearance, it's still going to chop lettuce and stuff no problem. Alright, we're just chewing up these cutters here because some of them are so far off they hit together when you turn shafts. So I'm taking a cut from the inside out, because if you start at the outside, the teeth smash the end off my tool bit. Alright, she's back together now. I machined all of these on the lathe and shaved off the high spots on the sides and filed all the holes in the center of these little spacers so that the bolts go in straight. Like, some of them didn't need filing, maybe about half of them did. And now they turn without binding. Gotta be real careful not to get my fingers caught in there. And there's little, what do they call these things? Set screws on these bearings to lock the bearing to the shaft so it can't move out of alignment. Now the next step is we have to have this shaft driving this way with a gear drive to turn this shaft this way. So we're going to get going on that next. Now I'm pressing the drive gears on each end of the shaft. I already did the other one. Got it in the hydraulic press here, and I was using a socket because of the diameter of this. So I found a socket that'll clear the shaft so I can just push this down as far as it has to go. Okay, I got the gears pressed on, and I got this gear here and this gear here. I made these two brackets. There's one here and there's another one on the inside. You probably can't see it, but it's another bracket like that on the inside. So we're going to tack weld that in place. I'm just trying to line this up so I can get it to line up properly so it runs from that one. And then the power flow is going to go from this, is going to be turned this way, and it's going to turn that gear that way. And I see there's a bicycle sprocket on here that's also going to turn the same as this gear. And then there's a half bicycle sprocket that's half the size of that one on here that's going to turn this shaft this way, because I couldn't get two gears the same. It didn't seem to matter where I went or who I talked to. Nobody has gears where I live, so the only way to get it is take apart machines until you find two gears the same. So these are Ford timing gears off a 6-cylinder Ford motor. I explained that earlier. And this one turns twice as fast as this one, because this one was running the crankshaft and this was running the camshaft, so the camshaft turns half the speed of the crankshaft. And I got 2 bicycle sprockets. I got lucky. I took apart a 10-speed rear hub, and I think this one's got something like 28 teeth, and this one has 14 or something like that. It's like this one is twice as many teeth as this one. I can't remember the tooth count exactly. You guys can sit here and count it if you want, but it's roughly half. It's not going to be much different. It might be like half a tooth out from being half as fast as this one. So we're just trying to get this lined up now. I'm going to get it lined up and I'm going to tack it in place, and then we'll see how it turns. Okay, so we got the drive assembled now, and you can see the bicycle chain on there. Turn it with my other hand. Everything seems to turn quite smooth. There's a couple of tight spots. I'll just use a grinding disc and polish them up, but so far I'm happy with that. And now we have to mount the drive motor now. Okay, so here's the drive, and this unit is metric, and I got a 3/4 inch Lovejoy coupler here, so I had to make this little adapter. And there are also 2 different keyways, so I custom made a keyway for it. I'm going to assemble this onto here now, and then we're going to fit this unit to the other part of it. I added this piece of angle iron to the end of the frame to mount the motor on. So now we're going to get it over here, and the frame's going to tack right on here, and then along the sides here from the bottom. Okay, here's what it looks like with the motor. It's not tacked yet, it's just clamped in place. So I got these lined up. When you turn this one here, you can see that it moves fairly easily. Alright, I got our motors just tacked on. She's turning. Motor's got a bit of vibration to it. It's turning. I gotta lube up that chain still. I don't have any food in here. Let's see what it does to a piece of cardboard. It doesn't have any of those wipers to peel it off the teeth. It's not even slowing it down for the cardboard. Anyways, it sure seems to have enough power. Tore up these pieces of cardboard like nothing. But usually the ones that I've seen is in between all these spaces here where the teeth are, they have pieces of steel that extend in there like this, and they clean out the teeth as it goes around so that the pieces fall down underneath. But without those pieces, it just tears it all up, and eventually it'll have to fall through, I'm sure. But we're gonna try it with some food here and see how it works. But first I gotta make a chute for it.
I hear your high heels clicking down the boulevard. Got your suitcase in hand, mister, taking it hard. Swear you'll never trust another man. But I know that you will, it's just a question of when. Open up your eyes to the light. You've been far too alone for too many nights. Oh, someday, some way, somehow love is gonna find you. Somehow, someone is gonna beg you to stay. But you keep on running, you keep running, you keep running away. Yes, you do, baby. Running whispered round the neighborhood. One time you were the best, it was just understood. Someone came and took you for a fool. Now the word on the street is that love is looking for you. Open up your eyes to the light. You've been far too alone for too many nights. Oh, someday, some way, somehow love is gonna find you. Somehow, someone. Don't look now, I'm coming up behind you. But you keep running, you keep running, you keep running away. Yes, you do, baby. So don't be fooled, you got me coming. I ain't no fool. You got me running and I don't know why. No, I don't know why. So open up, don't be afraid, baby. Is there someone standing in our way? Won't you tell me why? Don't you tell me goodbye? Oh, someday, some way, somehow love is gonna find you. Somehow, someone's gonna beg you to stay. Somehow, someone. Don't look now, I'm coming up behind you. But you keep running, you keep running, you keep running away. Oh, but you keep running, you keep running, and you keep running away. But you keep on running, you keep running, and you keep running away. But you keep on running, you keep running away. But you keep on running, you keep running away. You keep on running, you keep running away. You keep on running, you keep running away. Alright, there you have a little bit of Southern charm for you. 38 special, you keep running away. Thanks for joining me this week, and we'll see you all next time. Take her easy.